Good evening, everyone. My name is Cynthia Loesch-Johnson, and I'm president of the Codman Square Neighborhood Council. Welcome to our monthly community meeting. We meet the first Wednesday of the month from 7 to 8:30 every month, and we've been meeting virtually for a while because of the pandemic, and we'll continue to meet virtually until it's safe to return to the Great Hall and meet in person. I miss seeing all of your faces, so I really can't wait till we can meet in person again. This is just a quick reminder that these meetings are recorded. Closed captioning has been enabled. You can use the chat feature to ask questions. And this meeting is posted on YouTube, so you can view the meeting, share it with your friends, family, and neighbors, and share all of the important information that we cover this evening. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do. We've been meeting this way since 2020, so just a lot of important information that you can review when you have the time, and also subscribe so that you are notified when meetings are posted. And I'll put all this in the chat. We have a very full agenda today. You can take a look here. We're going to get through it all. We might jump around in the agenda a bit, but we'll make sure we cover it all. Just a quick update. The presentation from the Guild and the presentation regarding the Fair Share Amendment or the Millionaire's Tax, they will both be postponed until November. There was just a change in those presentations, so we won't be hearing from them tonight. But we will start with our police districts. We have C11 and B3. We'll start with B3 this evening.
All right, so yes. Good evening, everybody. My name is Officer Shawn Harris, Area B3, CSO officer. What I can tell you for the last 30 days, there's been 26 incidences that occurred in your catchment area that generated a 1-1 report. There were 2 disorderly conducts, 8 all other offenses, 2 aggravated assaults, 1 fraud, 1 larceny / shoplifting, 4 accidents, and 2 cases of vandalism. There were a few reports that I printed out because I wanted to go over in detail with you. What I can tell you, this is something everyone complains about. Police officers in B3 around 3:23 a.m. on Sunday, October 3rd, responded to a disturbance at 34 Torrey Street. Upon arrival, officers observed 10 to 15 people in the middle of Torrey Street and on the sidewalk, yelling and causing a disturbance out in front of 51 Torrey Street. Neighbors were outside, obviously complaining about the noise and the cars parked in front of the driveways. Officers were able to ascertain that there was an illegal house party going on at 51 Torrey Street. Long story short, the landlord was cited. So hopefully, you know, that goes a long ways towards keeping the neighborhood quiet, especially during quiet hours, which exist in between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. in the morning. Okay, there was another case as well. This was a vandalism report. Victim stated that she had parked her Acura TLX across the street from, that exact street address, right in front of 68 Edson Street. Someone had vandalized her vehicle. They had smashed in the driver's side front mirror and the driver's side front window, and she observed that they had taken miscellaneous items along with her wallet from the center console. Unfortunately, her wallet contained her driver's license, her social security card, as well as a pawn shop ticket. Please, you know, especially your personal items, such as your social security card, your license, and things of the such. I know that I've done it myself, but please try not to leave those things in your automobile. There are a lot of opportunists, especially as there are a segment of the population that has their own particular set of complications And as those individuals are being pushed out or relocated into certain neighborhoods and sober houses and other things that are such, we are seeing an uptick in property crime. So please do not leave your personal items, especially something that allows someone to assume your identity. Please do not leave those items in your vehicle, okay? There was another incident as well. Another vandalism report for an automobile. And then there was a shot spotter activation. This was in the area around 43 Withington Street. One round was recovered. There was also a male victim lying on the ground, suffering from an apparent gunshot wound to his left leg/groin area. Luckily, the individual survived with non-life-threatening injuries. All right, and somewhere around 2:55 p.m. on 9/17, an officer, while conducting a code 19, which is, vehicles sitting stationary. Everyone requests like almost like a cop on a walking beat. So he was sitting at 25 Dunbar Ave, observed a large commotion at Roberts Field. A group of girls were fighting one another. Luckily, the officer was able to call for backup and disrupt and stop the fight before anyone received any type of serious injuries. That's another thing that we've seen an uptick in as the kids have returned to school. I can say this myself as I listen to the radio. There has been an inordinate amount of fights taking place in front of the schools, at bus stops. Hopefully, parents can, sit down and talk to their children and, just let them know that that's not a great thing to do. You go to school to get your education, not to try to beat the living daylights out of one another. And then there was also another disturbance call. This came in on Dunbar as well. Came in, so the way that the call came in, it came in as shots fired. The good thing was it was only fireworks. And then there was another fight at Roberts Field. This one occurred during a soccer game. Young lady admitted she bumped into an opposing player accidentally. Somehow after the game, the person that she had bumped into, along with 5 of her friends, jumped out of a motor vehicle and started to assault her. Luckily, her teammates and other witnesses were able to rush to her rescue and to stop her from receiving any further harm. Also, if you know anyone that's between the age of 18 and 25, the Boston Police Cadet Program, they are taking applications. So if there's anyone that you know that falls within that age group that is interested in a career in law enforcement, please, have them go by their local police station, pick up the application. Not just saying it because I'm a police officer. I think it's a great career. It's done incredible things for my family and I. And last but not least, Area B3, we are going to have like a Halloween party, and it's going to be for kids 12 and under. It's going to take place at October 28th, and the hours are going to run between 4 and 8 p.m. We're accepting all candy donations. I can tell you now, if you can, drop anything off at the station, it'd be greatly appreciated. Even if it's the small miniature pumpkins, which we're going to have the kids participate in a pumpkin painting contest. And if you feel as though you want to pop by in a costume as well, you're more than welcome. Does anyone have any questions and/or concerns for me?
Thank you for your presentation. In the past, B3 has done the haunted cells. Will it be like that this year or different?
No, ma'am. Everything is, because of COVID, everything is going to be done outdoors, for liability reasons and because of city mandates. Hopefully, next year we'll have some return to normalcy. But unfortunately, no haunted cell this year.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? For B3?
Going once, going twice. I'm still going to sit in for the remainder of the meeting. So if you have any questions, by all means, just ask away.
Excellent. We appreciate it. Have a great evening.
All right. I'm going to mute myself now. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Great. We will now hear from C11. Is Officer Keeney on? Let me just check through. I don't see him. Okay, maybe he'll join later. So we'll continue on with the agenda.
Sorry to interrupt. It looks like there was a comment in the chat asking Officer Harris maybe something about turkeys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
What can be done about the abundance of turkeys wandering around Torrey, Wentworth, Dunbar, Norfolk Street, etc.?
Well, ma'am, on that one, you would actually have to reach out and contact animal control. BPD, that's not something that we necessarily handle. What you can do is you can put in a, send an email through 311 and see if they'll dispatch animal control to do something about the abundance of turkeys in the area.
Thank you. We've seen them over here, over by Dr. Lesh Family Park as well.
Oh, they are everywhere, unfortunately.
Yes. Okay. So we'll move along in the agenda. Quickly, Codman Square Farmers Market. By using the reaction feature, let me know if you've been able to participate in the Codman Square Farmers Market this year. We are concluding our 14th season. It's been 14 years we've had this farmers market. It's amazing. And basically it's our initiative to bring fresh, local, organic produce to our community. Oftentimes our community is identified as a food desert because we don't have access to a lot of fresh, local, organic produce. And in addition to the farm fresh food and all of the vendors, we also have social Saturdays at the Codman Square Farmers Market. So different themed events, and it's really been a lot of fun all summer. Our market manager, Catherine Charles, has done a phenomenal job. So if you haven't had a chance, please on Saturday, 11 to 2 at the Codman Square Park, visit, enjoy, take part. It's a really great time and you'll be able to purchase your farm fresh food. Any questions about the Codman Square Farmers Market? Okay, I don't know if there's anything in the chat. I can't see the chat right now. We'll also quickly talk about the Codman Square Park where the farmers market is held. Again, use the reaction feature to indicate if you frequent the Codman Square Park. It's located at the corner of Washington and Talbot. If you're not familiar with the efforts around the Codman Square Park, we've been working to secure funds to do a complete redesign of this space and secure capital dollars. And to date, we've secured $640,000 in capital dollars, $150,000 in CPA dollars, and we're waiting to hear from the Brown Fund to see if we secured another $150,000. These efforts really just started with residents coming together and envisioning how to activate this space. Yes, we're using it for the farmers market, but this park should be used every single day, morning, afternoon, and evening. And we really want to activate this space. So here are just some slides of some of the renderings that's come out of this process. We talk about this park every month, so you know that we've secured an artist that kind of did all the art for the design and a landscape architect that did these renderings. You can see that the barricade between the second church parcel and the park parcel is being removed, so it becomes more of a shared space for the farmers market, performance stage, rain garden, parking redesign. This art right here is kind of the I Am Codman Square art feature that really showcases all the different ethnicities that's been in Codman Square, from the Native Americans to the Puritans to all the many different families and cultures we have present day. Historical features, it's really cool. I'm actually going to hand it off to Cathy Baker-Eclipse from the Parks Department to talk a little bit more about this process and where we are and where we're going. And she can answer all of our questions about the Codman Square Park. Cathy, are you here?
I am. Hi.
Hi.
Cynthia. I don't know that I have much more to add. You did such a great job of orienting everyone. So thank you all for having me. I'm in the design construction unit in the Boston Parks Department. And like Cynthia said, we have been successful in securing $640,000 in the capital budget for improvements to this park. And that's in addition to the $150,000 from CPA. And that's for both the design and the construction of the site features inside the park. So basically from the fence line between Second Church and the park out to the street on Talbot Ave, over to Center Street and on Washington Street. That's the boundary of the park. So we have submitted the contract for Kyle Zick Landscape Architects to continue. They started and did the visioning project with funding from the Brown Fund, which is a City of Boston Trust fund. So we're going to be continuing with them and building on their vision, developing construction documents and putting it out to bid with those city and CPA dollars. And they're going to be working collaboratively with the artist Destiny Palmer, her purview is really the monumental I Am Codman Square piece, but there's also elements of that design that are interwoven into all the fabric of the surfacing and some of the other patterning that's going to be occurring throughout the park. So we are moving some of the elements around a little bit since we last presented to the community. So we're envisioning a community process probably kicking off right after the first of the year, after the hubbub of the holiday season is quieted down. So around the first of the year, we'll be putting out a notice that we're going to be having a community meeting. I would encourage you all to get involved. I will, of course, be using Cynthia as a conduit to reach out and notify you all that this meeting is happening. It's going to be outside the Codman Square Neighborhood Council meeting, so it's going to be hosted by the Parks Department, probably on Zoom. In winter, that's a great resource to have. Zoom. So keep an eye out for that. Around the first of the year, we'll be updating the community with where we are with the site plan, how we're planning on integrating Second Church as a future phase, and just talking some more about the details of what is really needed in this space in order to create a platform on which things like social Saturdays and the farmers market can exist on their schedule, and also a park that's livable and playful and family friendly the other days of the week. So that's kind of a big broad overview of what's happening.
That's very helpful. And Cathy, thank you so much for all of the energy and effort you've put into this project. It's been a ride, kind of navigating all of the moving parts, all of the legal issues, the design, the space, the community process, and you've been with us through it all. So we are so grateful.
You guys are such a great community. It's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Cathy? She's done a number of our projects here in Codman Square. We actually requested her personally because she's so familiar with the neighborhood and all the stakeholders, and respectful of our process, because we want to make sure the community voice is heard, whether it's our young people or our merchants, our residents, whoever it is. We want to make sure that everyone's input is included, and she understands that, and she's been really great. Any questions about the Codman Square Park or the park process? Just checking through the chat.
I just want to also let everybody know that I'm not the only project manager. You're going to meet B. Chatfield in a minute, who is a great project manager in our department. So she's working on a project she's going to talk about in a second, but there's also a project going on up Washington Street at Mother's Rest at Four Corners with another project manager, Lauren Bryant. I think some people attended the first meeting. The second meeting is scheduled for October 19th at 6 p.m. I'm going to drop a link to the project website in the chat. So if you're able to come to that, they're going to be presenting a couple of design alternatives at that meeting. So it's really important one to see what the future of Mother's Rest at Four Corners up on Washington and Corbett, what that future park will look like.
Great, thank you, Cathy. We know how important our open space is, so definitely take part in these meetings. Make sure that we are creating the space that is best for you, your family, your neighbors. I'm actually going to share a link in the chat to a survey that we have where we're collecting people's thoughts and comments and vision for the Codman Square Park. It's not too late. Yes, we shared that rendering, but we're still going through a community process. We're still going to have those meetings in the new year that Cathy mentioned. So make sure you take this opportunity to share your thoughts, get involved, and we'll let you know when the meetings start up again so that we can get ready for the final stages of figuring out this design and construction process.
Yeah, it's definitely not too late to have your voice be heard, and more voices in the mix just make a richer and more meaningful park.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cathy.
Thank you.
Before I move on to the next presenter, I saw a comment here about a negative experience that Lorna had at the Codman Square Farmers Market. I'm very sorry about that. Daryl is not in charge. He is a volunteer. Catherine Charles is the market manager. I'm going to share this information with her and she'll reach out to you to talk about that more, because we don't want anyone having a negative experience at the Codman Square Farmers Market. But it has been very busy. It has been difficult to manage crowd control and keep everyone safe and make sure everyone's getting their farm fresh food. So we want to make sure that we address this issue quickly. So thank you for sharing. Moving along in the agenda, we're going to hear a little bit more about the Norwell Street Park design process.
Okay. Can you guys see me and hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so hi everybody. Cynthia, nice to meet you. Not quite in person, but hopefully someday. I am a project manager with the Parks Department, and our newest project, which I'm very excited about, everyone's very excited about, is the Norwell Street Park. That is a brand new park, and we are working with the WOW Coalition, which is a neighborhood group from west of Washington. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. They were instrumental in making this park really from the get-go and bringing it to our attention and essentially convincing the Parks Department to add it to our portfolio. So we'll be managing it going forward. And right now it is 4 grassy parcels at the corner of Norwell Street and Park Street. It's right by the Talbot Street T-stop, the commuter rail. And we're going to be having our kickoff meeting in person at the park on October 30th, which is the Saturday. And the WOW Coalition is going to be also having, some Halloween activities for kids. And we are going to be holding an event, sort of talking to people and asking for ideas, trying to figure out sort of what the community is interested in seeing, because this is a really exciting opportunity to have this blank slate of a park, really. I mean, it's 4 empty parcels that are, contiguous. And so, there have been a number of, there's been some information that the WOW Coalition has, they've interviewed members of their community. And so we have some ideas of what they would like to see there. And we're also interested in, including a broad reach, around Dorchester and different neighborhoods within the area. So we hope that some of you guys will be able to come. It's at from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. on October 30th. And it's at the corner of Norwell Street and Park Street. And just, I guess, a little bit of background for the project itself. A developer bought these parcels and then responded to the community, which they were saying, we don't want more condos, we want a park. And so he said, okay. And with funding from the CPA, he purchased the parcels and turned them over to the city. And we now have further CPA funding, $800,000, which covers design and construction for this park. So we hope you will join us on October 30th. And I will put the information in the chat for the project page if you want to check back and see any more updates. This is the first meeting where we're really trying to collect information for what the community wants to see. The second meeting where we propose 3 alternate design concepts will probably be closer towards January. So if you want to keep track of the process, I'll put that website in the chat. But if anybody has any questions, let me know.
Any questions? This is super exciting to have a new park in Codman Square. And we're so happy that the WOW Coalition led this initiative and the city is working with the community on it. We need these open spaces in our community. I'm just checking the chat. People want the information.
Okay, here we go. I'm trying to figure this out on my phone. So,
any other questions or comments? No? This is great. Lots of park information tonight. Going once, going twice. Excellent. Thank you so much for your presentation. Make sure you share the information because we want to make sure the residents are at this meeting. This is exciting. Oh, great.
Awesome.
You got the link? Okay, perfect.
Can everyone click on that? I think so, yeah. Okay, moving along in the agenda, Marilyn, did you want to share a little bit about our annual Hidden Heroes and Sheroes event?
Sure. Well, I don't know who doesn't know about it, but if you didn't, oh boy, you're in for a surprise. This year, again, it is going to be a virtual event. And if you didn't know, this is the time when the community would nominate folks in the community who have been doing work, going above and beyond, and just making us proud, not looking for recognition, but just doing what's on their heart to come to the aid of people and to assist in building community. And so the Hidden Heroes Committee and others want to recognize these people. There's a photo on the flyer of last year's recipients, and there's our Rep Holmes there leading the pack, but it is a wonderful time. And though it was a virtual event last year, it still was an awesome time. Not only do we recognize people in the community, adults that are doing yeoman's work, we also recognize 2 high school seniors that are also contributing in the community and doing well in school and desire to attend college in the fall. And so along with their accolades, their certificates and trophy and what have you, they also get a $1,500 scholarship for college. And that's exciting and helps them tremendously. So we are hoping and praying that you all would consider coming out to this event on Friday, November the 19th. It will be virtual. So you can go to the website, to the Neighborhood Council website, and click on the link for Hidden Heroes to get more information. This year, we'll be having a silent auction. So if you have anything or know of anyone who you can reach out to bring an item to the table for us, that would help to build our pot so that we can continue to give those scholarships, that would be most appreciated. The scholarship has recently been named after the Reverend Dr. Bill Loesch, because he was one of the original founders of of the Hidden Heroes event. And he has such a passion for young people. So we want to always honor him for the work that he has done in keeping this alive. And what else? I know I'm forgetting something. Yeah, just be there. There's if you go to the site, you'll see that there's a button there for donating. So you can donate to the event, you can buy the tickets, you can purchase the auction, you can just make a general donation to the scholarship fund. But you know, there would be no Hidden Heroes event without you contributing. So we are asking that everyone contribute so that we can continue to do this for our young people and for our community. We've been through so much in the past couple of years. We do need something to lift us. And you know, the virtual events that I've been attending lately have been surprising. It wasn't like you just sitting there staring at a screen. You actually felt like you were there. So what do you guys think about the flyer? Let me see the thumbs up if you think does it look inviting? What do you think? Yeah. All right. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, so you know, if you have any questions, like just put it in the chat, but please take a look, go over to the website and check it out. And if you have any thoughts or ideas, also there is a nomination form. So if you know, we don't see everything. I mean, it really is a community effort. So if you see someone in the community that you think should be nominated for one of those categories, which is civic leadership, neighborhood leadership, and youth leadership, then nominate them. This would be coming from the Greater Four Corners area, where we select two. Or we select a person from there and a youth as well, and Codman Square, those two areas. So this is a joint effort between the two neighborhoods to really highlight those people in the community. So I think that's it for me.
Thanks, Marilyn. Can you put the link in the chat for all of us? There are opportunities to place an ad in the program. There are opportunities to donate directly to the youth scholarships, because again, we give two $1,500 youth scholarships to the two youth awardees. There are opportunities to participate in the silent auction, and then to register for the event. It's a free event. We just want to make sure everyone participates. All of the awardees should have been notified, but if for some reason you haven't, congratulations for those of you that are our 2021 Hidden Heroes and Sheroes. We can't wait to celebrate you on November 19th. Thank you, Marilyn. Any questions or comments for Marilyn? No? Okay, we'll put the link in the chat. Mark your calendars, save the date. Before we move on to the next item in the agenda, I just want to remind you all of our survey. As you all remember, we conducted an assessment in 2019 of the merchants in Codman Square and determined that there were 31 beauty hair and nail salons, 19 convenience stores, 17 restaurants, of which none were a sit-down restaurant providing healthy food options. To name some of the restaurants, McDonald's and KFC within feet of each other, and there was a Popeyes proposed between the two large fast food chains. We've been able to do our part and advocate preventing that Popeyes from opening, but it is built out and that space is there. Residents just seemed really frustrated with this assessment of our community, and ultimately we're not surprised with the health inequities such as obesity and diabetes type 2 that we face because of all the junk and fast food sold in our community. And this is not even to mention the alcohol, the tobacco, and the 2 cannabis dispensaries, which were approved in the same half-mile radius that we're talking about. This assessment kind of centered in the Great Hall, 6 Norfolk Street, and then went a half-mile front in each direction in our Merchants District. And ultimately, the residents made their voices loud and clear and said, we want more diversity in our Merchants District. We want to see healthier options in our community. And so we have this survey here that we'd like you all to take to share a little bit about what you would like to see, because we're hearing loud and clear, we want some diversity. We don't want more of the same. So take your cameras out, scan this QR code here, take the survey. I'll also put it in the chat, and just let us know what you want to see. People want to see sit-down restaurants, healthy food, pet shops. There's a number of things that are coming in. So take the survey. It'll just take you about 60 seconds. We really appreciate it. And I'll also put the link in the chat.
Cynthia, is this on a flyer at all, this QR code?
I'm gonna put the link in the chat right now.
I'm just saying like in general, like so I can
You blasted it
oh,
up for us? Yeah,
yeah,
I will get it to you.
okay, perfect.
Thank you. Put this in the chat for you guys, and I appreciate those of you that are doing it now. Okay, and I say all this because we value your input. We want to make our merchants district one that's thriving and diverse and beneficial to all of our families. And we'll use this information from the survey to fight to improve our community. But next on the agenda is a real life success story for this particular fight. We will hear from Fresh Food Generation. This restaurant is coming to Codman Square. They're opening this month, and they are providing the healthy food option that we're looking for. And they do have some sit-down opportunities. So I'll allow Fresh Food Generation to tell us a little bit more because we are super excited.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cassandra. I grew up in Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan. I went to the O'Hearn Elementary, which is now the Henderson School. I also went to preschool at the Lee School. I am super excited to be opening up a restaurant in Codman Square. I have been amazed at the strength of the Codman Square community. Even as a former resident, I'm amazed. And just how much care and love that really goes into making the neighborhood such a great place, but specifically Codman's focus on health. The farmers market is alive and vibrant, and just wanting to see better options. I think it was a great fit for us. But I'm gonna let my business partner, Jackson, introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name is Jackson Renshaw, the other co-founder of Fresh Food Generation. For those of you who don't know about us yet, we're a farm-to-plate Caribbean American food business. We started off as a food truck in Dudley Square, and then went into catering and opened up a kiosk space at the Dot House Health Center to serve breakfast and lunch to patients and staff. Our best sellers right now are the jerk chicken, kale salad, and empanadas. My background is in agriculture and farming, so I work with a lot of farms throughout the summer and winter to try and get the best ingredients we possibly can. And we make all of our sauces and marinades in-house to try and provide the best quality food that we can. So very excited to see everybody here. We've been to a few of the community meetings in the past as well, but always glad to reconnect and happy to answer any questions you may all have about the restaurant space.
And I just want to say thank you. I think there's a lot of people here, some that I don't know, that were really advocates in helping us move into the Codman Square community, or previously supported our business. We've worked a lot with Codman Square CDC, but also Codman Academy, Codman Square Health Center.
Great. Do you guys have any visuals to show us?
Yes, I can go through the presentation. Absolutely. I don't know how many people have seen it before, so I'm sorry if you've seen it, bear with me. And I will share my screen. Give me a second. Okay, so this is the kale salad that Jackson was referencing. It's made by a chef who has worked with us for a really long time, is from the Ashmont neighborhood. It's somehow become one of our best sellers, even though a lot of people say that they hate kale. When they have the salad, they really love it. So it's become one of our staple dishes. So we have been in business for about 7 years. We've operated out of a shared kitchen space in Dorchester called Commonwealth Kitchen. It's on Quincy Street. If you drove by and you've seen a lot of food trucks, we operate one of those food trucks. This is a photo of our food truck serving the Codman Square area. I think this was Earth Day 2 years ago. Really great event. We are going to have our truck in Codman Square on the 30th doing the Women's Health Fair with Codman Square Health Center. So please come out. There will be free food there as well. I'm sure all of you guys have drove by this property now. It is residential above, and we are occupying both spaces on the first floor. As I said, we've been in business for 7 years and operating out of a shared kitchen. So this particular location is a dream for us, not only for me and my business partner, but also for our staff, some of which have worked with us for the past 5 years, to be able to have our own space, to be able to move into a new building. There are 2 patios on both sides of the property that we are really excited to be able to open up to the public. And there is some indoor seating. We have about 8 seats, but really the patio is a total of 30, and we plan to program it. So if you are a yoga instructor, or you have a knitting club, or you have a group of friends, please let us know. We'd love to see how we can work with you to be able to use the patio and get something good to eat. A little bit about us: we source a lot of our food from local farms, some farms that are in the area. So you guys might be familiar with Urban Farming Institute. They have a small farm on Norfolk Street in Mattapan, but also at the Sportsman Tennis Club. Most of the people we hire are actually within walking distance of the restaurant, and we are currently hiring. So if you know any young people or people who are interested in kitchen work or drivers, please send them our way. We do pay a living wage, and we do offer 401k plans. In case you were wondering what Fresh Food Generation serves, that tends to be a big mystery to people because it doesn't say it in the name. We definitely do more than salads. We have red bean stew, empanadas, salmon, jerk chicken, chipotle chicken, lamb. So please come by and try out our food. Support us as a business. We greatly need that. And I'll let Jackson just talk about some of our experience.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that we started off as a food truck, and we've been running that for the last 7 years. This week, the truck went out to Brigham and Women's Hospital to serve the staff over there who've been taking care of everyone over the last 2 years. And before that, as a sort of stress relief for them. From our work with the truck and some catering for neighborhood organizations, we were approached by the Dot House Health Center to open up a kiosk cafe space for the staff and residents there. So we're pretty familiar with working both in kitchens, but also really efficient spaces. And our team is very excited to be able to walk to work for most of them. So I think once you guys meet the team, you'll both be pleased, impressed, and happy. Like Cassandra said, our team is small, is growing. We currently have nine people on our team, and looking forward to add some more. So welcome any questions you guys have. I see lots of support in the comments, so thank you guys for that. Very excited to see you at the space.
I see a few questions here. Candace asks, would Fresh Food Generation provide lunches for summer program kids?
That's not our specialty, and it is a question that we do get a lot. We have done one-off events for kids and have catered our menu to kids. But in terms of consistently every day replacing a child's lunchbox at school, not our wheelhouse. But please, we'd be happy to do a presentation with kids or bring healthy food options. One thing that we did not mention is that we, when we slowly start to ease out of the pandemic, we will be opening up the kitchen to cooking classes. That is something that we've done in the past and really enjoyed. And that's great for kids.
I also see that they'd love to have you back at Dot House. You are missed.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Kayla.
What are your hours? Are you open on Sundays?
we're starting Tuesday through Saturday. Right now, we are thinking 11 to 8, but just like all food businesses right now, we are adjusting to post-pandemic restaurant life and figuring that out.
Any other questions or comments for Cassandra or Jackson?
I just want to say how grateful I am to the Codman Square community. Again, you guys have continuously supported us and the reason that we have been allowed to grow as a company. And we continue to welcome feedback, not just in this meeting, but in general. And Cynthia, thank you for the invitation to participate in this meeting.
Great. I actually had the privilege of going to elementary school with Cassandra at the O'Hearn, now Henderson. I'm so impressed by you, and I am so grateful that you are coming to Codman Square because we need this resource. You know, I can't wait to bring my family, my friends. We can't wait to show it off. I wish there was more indoor seating. Is there any way to convert the outdoor space to kind of make it indoor during the winter months?
I think give us year 2, but I think we will figure that out with heat lamps and some good shelter.
That would be nice. I am seeing, we're excited to have you in the neighborhood. Can't wait to taste your food. That was Vikma and Yuki, 3 hearts. Everyone is happy to have you. We want to see more of this in our neighborhood.
And where in the Codman Square area are you?
It is right next to the Lee School.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Great. Thank you all so much. Let us know how we can continue to support you, and you're always welcome to give us updates and let us know how it's going.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving along in the agenda, many of you are familiar with the Building Energy Reporting and Disclosure Ordinance. We provided a letter of support for this ordinance, and Mike is here to tell us what's been going on and provide us the exciting update.
Hey, just as a reminder, we have been talking about this for a few months. This is about climate change, about fossil fuel use, and in a minute, I will put a lot of kind of background information and some quotes in the chat. But the basic story is we urgently need to stop polluting the atmosphere with gases that warm the planet and cause wildfires in California, violent weather here, more destructive hurricanes that are devastating New Orleans and the Gulf states and the southern Atlantic states, causing more asthma locally. You know, we could go on and on and on about why we need to do this urgently. Boston just took a really important step that will cut its fossil fuel emissions in half by 2050 and by a quarter by 2035 by making big building owners clean up their buildings, basically switch over to electric heat from fossil fuels, button up their buildings, make them more energy efficient, and so forth. They can take a variety of steps, but they have to start cutting their emissions, which account for 70% of Boston's carbon footprint of its emissions. The city council passed a set of rules unanimously, which is remarkable, a couple of weeks ago, due to the initiative of grassroots groups, including us. We sent a letter to the city council saying this has to pass, and they took heed. So, you know, we're part of the, you know, Make It Better, Take Care of the Problem coalition across the city. And I just want to congratulate everyone on the neighborhood council for helping make this happen. I'll put the information in the chat, and I hope I'm able to copy it and do that. If not, I'll, you know, type it in laboriously. If people have any questions, looks like I have to type it in. If you have any questions, maybe we can take a minute to do that, or I'll put my email in there too.
Any questions or comments for Mike? I want to thank you for help leading the charge and keeping us focused on green buildings and sustainability and making sure we are all held accountable when it comes to thinking about these issues. And we are very excited that this passed in the way that it did. It's a step in the right direction. Still lots of work to do, but a step in the right direction.
And I should just add that the next thing that we're working on is the Codman Square Library, to make sure that it is a very green building that that fits our community.
Excellent. Any questions or comments about the ordinance? Thank you for the update, Mike. And if you want to email it to me, I can put it in the chat for you so you don't have to type it out. That might
I'll
be
do that right now.
okay, great. And then I also saw in the chat, Marilyn asked about a beer and wine license for Fresh Food Generation, and Jackson responded that we're working on applying for a beer and wine license presently, so stay tuned. Okay. So I'm now going to open the floor for anyone on the call that represents an elected official, if they have any announcements to share before I hand it off to State Representative Russell Holmes.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Nadia from the Sheriff's Department. I just wanted to share that today was actually the first day that there was a virtual job fair series that the Sheriff's Department partnered up with the Mass Hire and the Mayor's Office Workforce Development Office. And what it is assisting people who are returning citizens as well as job seekers. So if you know anyone who would be interested, it is virtual. Today was the first one, and for the rest of the month of October. So the next one would be next Wednesday. If you have any questions, I'll put that information in the chat as well as the link that you can just get the information from.
Thank you for that update. Any questions or comments? Thank you. Anyone else want to present here from an elected official's office? Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. It's Denise from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I just wanted to remind everyone that Monday, October 11th, the Boston Marathon is happening. So just plan around traffic and just getting downtown in MBTA. And also too, the last day for residents to register to vote is Wednesday, October 13th. I will drop the link in the chat for the to where you can register online as well. Also too, the Equity and Inclusion Cabinet and the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement are awarding $1 million to the Massachusetts Immigrant Collaborative to support Boston residents who were not eligible for federal COVID-19 relief benefits. I'll also drop the information to request the application for that in the chat. And they evaluate the application based on Boston residency, household incomes. It does not, regardless of your immigration status. So I'll put that information in the chat as well.
Good night, everyone. My name is Cecily Graham, and I am the Director of Constituent Services for the Office of City Councilor Julia Mejia. I don't have any updates other than saying good night to everyone and listening in on all the updates on your end to go back and report to the council. So thank you for having me, and I'll mute myself now.
Thank you so much. We're happy to hear from all of you. We hope to hear from you every month. If there are no other questions or comments, I'm going to hand it off to State Representative Russell Holmes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, of course, Cynthia, for having me here again tonight. So I'm gonna get myself in trouble by starting with what Cynthia doesn't like me to do, and that is, I really want to know, does anyone have any questions before I get on my soapbox? I really want to know that before I try to talk about a couple of things I want to chat about. Okay, so I'm going to begin with something that's very, you're going to like, what in the world am I talking about? I'm going to begin with hens, H-E-N, hens tonight. So there was a piece of legislation that we passed in the Commonwealth. We had a vote in 2016 where we changed the way we condition chickens, pigs, and things of that nature, because of the fact that there was just the staging of chickens that basically they couldn't even spread their wings. They were just caged, and this was happening all across the country. And it was a major movement to treat the conditions of our poultry and the others food that we get I wouldn't say humanely, but in a condition that, because humane obviously is human, we treat our animals better, even those that are going to be our food. And so we were cutting edge. So in 2016, it was a major effort that we did, and we voted that yes, we should change the way that these animals are caged. Well, in the last 5 years, after that law, we are now behind on what many of the other folks do around the country. So yes, we were cutting edge initially, but then other folks began to see what we did and started to model and improve basically the way this happens for pigs and hens in particular. And so now, because of the way our law has been structured in 2016, there have been changes made across this entire industry that come January 1 of next year. There was going to be some potential conflicts there. All of a sudden, we were not going to be able to have, because of the conditions that we had put on for providers of food into the Commonwealth, which is almost all eggs and pigs, supplies that we get, bacon and whatever, does not get produced here in Massachusetts. And so 90% of it does not come from here in Massachusetts. And so because of the restrictions that we had put in the law, we were going to have concern around what to do about food supply, particularly for all of these restaurants and the like. And so today we passed the law to get more in line with the rest of the country. And certainly in this time of COVID and all the things that are happening, we already have our restaurants and others and businesses and small businesses in bad conditions already. The last thing we want to do is to start to limit their food supply. I think we've seen all across the country where folks are struggling with food, lunches, the supply for food, things of that nature for our lunches. We're already having this problem show up, obviously, for the supply chain across many, many industries. And the thing that we wanted to do today was to make it show so that come January, we do not have that be another one of these inhibitors and challenges for our businesses as we continue to come out of COVID. So we did pass it. Senate should pass it today or tomorrow, and then get on the governor's desk, and we should not have that problem. And hopefully we'll continue to get stronger as an economy. When I think about the economy just in general, though, we still, with all of the revisions that we've made, and as we've been opening up as the economy here as a state, we are still, for those who don't know, we track our money for what we receive in tax revenues and things, and what we spend every single day. And we track that relative to the budget that we anticipated getting. So we don't know year to year what we're going to have for a budget. We don't know what the economy is going to be every year, but we have what we call a consensus revenue number that we develop with the administration. So we develop it with the governor's office, we develop it with the House and the Senate, and we do that in advance of January of each year. So us on the Ways and Means committees, we start to meet in November. We have all types of folks who are economists and the like. They come in and they say, hey, here's what we think the growth in this economy will be next year as we project it out. And so then after having hearings, we have a discussion about what that number should be on how we should then budget for the coming year. And so we call that a consensus revenue number. So the governor then comes out with a budget in January of each year that the House and Senate then begin to negotiate. And we then track week to week how we're doing relative to what we anticipated the budget would be. And so just to give you a sense, today we're still getting revenues more than anticipated. And so as an economy, we still see Massachusetts being strong. but we still don't want hiccups like what we would have potentially had come January. So what that does mean, though, is, as I may have talked about last month, I'm not for certain, there are several things happening. We had more money than we anticipated when we ended the budget on June 30th of this year. And so we had to make some decisions of what to do about almost $500 million. And then we also had money more than anticipated because of the fact that we had the recovery money that came from the feds. And so I'm pretty sure I talked about this last month, but I know Codman Square, I did see some of the folks from Codman Square on the call. I have a call with them tomorrow because they clearly have an idea of what they believe this money should be spent on. But I just want to just make sure, as everyone on the call should know, we still are anticipating what to do with about $4.8 billion that we did not anticipate getting, but we do now have from the feds. This is different than the money that's still being debated on the infrastructure money that you're hearing constantly talked about, the 3.5 trillion versus the social infrastructure that's going to now be more like 2.1 trillion and 2.2, or the 1.1 trillion. This is still the money before that. And so if there are things that you think are most important, I can tell you the caucus is still landing on. I can tell you what we said today as a caucus, that we're going to advocate strongly to Ways and Means, the governor, and anyone else. And that is every penny, all 100% of this money should be used for what it was targeted for. And that is going to the disproportionate impacted communities and making sure that all the things that were exposed in COVID, from education, from technology gaps that happened, to all the things we've seen around housing, that all of the money goes towards the things that this was really targeted for. We should not all of a sudden start to see parks being built out of the recovery money. That's not what we should be seeing. And so there's a whole list of things that we're going to be continuing to advocate for. But please, if there are things that you think, obviously, Codman Square, they're going to be moving tomorrow, primarily around housing. But there are things that you think most money should be spent on, please let me know. One more thing, do you mind? One more thing is just, as you know, we learned a lot in COVID around voting. And we firmly believe, really as a Commonwealth, we should never, ever, ever go back to not being able to have the opportunity, all of our constituents have the opportunity to vote by mail. That should just now be just commonplace. We're going to send you out the information that says, hey, here's a vote coming. And would you like to have this ballot mailed in or not? So we're going to, the Senate today codified what they see as a bill to take, and opposite of what we've seen around, in Georgia, Texas, all these other places that are suppressing the vote. Clearly, we are looking to make sure as a Commonwealth that we are expanding on the things that we've learned, creating more opportunities for us to be more engaged. And because it's clear that we still need to do it, because we still see in the mayoral vote the horrible turnout in our district and in our communities. And so we're going to make sure that we still take the lessons learned from COVID and continue to push out the vote. So I know that's about my 5 minutes that Cynthia would like to give me before I get yanked, but I don't mind taking any questions if she'll give me a few minutes if anyone has any questions.
Of course, questions or comments for Rep. Holmes? We appreciate you being with us every month and letting us know what's happening in the State House, keeping us informed. Last month, we talked about the meeting that we're going to have with the 2 cannabis dispensary.
Sure.
We had hoped to have it for October 13th, but I know you didn't get confirmation from both of the owners.
I did, actually. I apologize. He texted me today. I just got it.
Oh, man.
Derek Small texted me today and said, give me the details for next week's meeting. Is because I started texting him a month ago, and I'm like, dude, you're going to have me go into this meeting tonight without an answer? I'm going to get killed. I mean, okay.
Well, unfortunately, we wanted to invite the other civic associations in Codman Square, and that's just not enough time to try to get it on everyone's radar. So is it possible for you to go back to them and propose November 10th?
Yeah, so here's what I can tell you the pushback was. And so I'm happy we're having this discussion. When I did finally talk to Cheryl Crawford, she says, hey, Rep, we don't have a problem coming to the meeting, but we still think it's premature. We still believe that both of us are still going through the state process And quite frankly, one of us may not eventually be approved. And so she was like, we still got to build out the properties. We still have to get the approval from the state. We still have to see if there are some things that they're going to augment. And, they're still so far away, probably at least a year away by the time they do the build out and all of those things. So that was their pushback to me. Like, we understand the community has anxiety around both of these cannabis businesses coming, but both of us, neither one of us have gotten that final approval from the state. And so that was their pushback, that they felt like it was premature. But yes, I can push for November 10th.
We appreciate you providing the behind the scenes. Yeah, I think for us, we do want to have a preliminary conversation, and we will have many more conversations after the fact, but we've only met with them separately. And so the idea and the possibility of having 2 dispensaries on Washington Street, I think there are residents that just want to think through what that might look like and put, different concerns on the minds of the owners so that they can keep that in their in the back of their mind when they're going through the state process and as they're moving forward, whether it's building out, design. I mean, we have comments on every aspect of their application. So we don't want to miss the opportunity when the process has already moved too far along. So it is, the first meeting of many, but for us, it's still important to at least get them both in the same room and have those initial conversations.
Got it very clearly. I'll do what I did with Anissa and Michelle, because trying to deal with their 2 campaigns on something. I'm gonna put them all on the same text thread. I'm gonna put Jeff Smillian, Derek Smalls, Cheryl Crawford. I'll put them all on one text thread and say, hey guys, November 10th, are we good for that? So I'll get right back to you on that.
Great, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments for Rep. Holmes? No? Thank you so much.
I need to talk to Cathy, Kate. So I saw Cathy on this phone call. I
Yeah.
don't know if she presented something earlier about parks and about the park in Codman Square.
Codman Square Park. Yep, she presented an update for us.
Well, Cathy, I need you on what's going on over at by Sportsman's Tennis Club. So if I can just get you to call me, that would be outstanding. If she can give a thumbs up, she heard me, or say yes, she knows I'm here, that would be great. Yep. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Well, we are going to move into announcements because we have a lot of announcements this evening. First off, as a reminder, Tuesday, November 2nd is Election Day. Michelle Wu and Anissa Sabi-George are the 2 mayoral candidates. There are 8 candidates for the city's 4 at-large council seats. And Brian Worrell and Evandro Carvalho are the candidates for the District 4 seat. I encourage you to view our meetings on YouTube to hear from the candidates that previously met with us. Getting to know these candidates is so important to help inform our decision on Election Day. Please remind your friends, your family, your neighbors to make a plan to vote on November 2nd, because our quality of life here in Codman Square really depends on it. So please make sure you make a plan for November 2nd. Another quick announcement, Mike mentioned it before. If you're not aware, the Codman Square Library Branch is going through a programming study to assess the interior and exterior physical conditions of the building and to identify the services needed by the community. And so we've had 3 meetings to date where we've been able to share our ideas for the future plans and the possibility of renovating the building or constructing a completely new building. So these are just visuals from the last meeting where we're looking at the possibility of renovating the space or constructing a completely new building. None of these things are finalized. They were just sharing ideas of, what is possible so that we could kickstart the conversation. But at the most recent meeting, which was yesterday, the possibility of affordable housing on this site was proposed. So if you feel strongly in either way about our branch, but then also the possibility of housing at this branch, you should definitely take part in these meetings. It's really important to be a part of this process so that we can ensure we have a state-of-the-art branch in our neighborhood and that we can also have the opportunity to share our concerns and make sure our voice is heard. We have made it clear to the team our concerns regarding assessing the carbon footprint of each of these proposals. And that will be presented to us at an upcoming meeting. So I'm going to put a link in the chat. I want to make sure you're engaged, you're involved, because this is going to be, transformational for Washington Street, along with the Codman Square Park, along with all of the other things happening. So it's an exciting time in Codman Square. A reminder, the Codman Square Farmers Market is held on Saturdays. This coming Saturday is the last Saturday of the season, 11 to 2 at the Codman Square Park. You heard about the Norwell Street Park Design Meeting that's coming up on October 30th. We encourage you to participate. All of the information is in the chat. Marilyn shared Hidden Heroes and Sheroes is coming up in November. You have the opportunity to donate to the Youth Scholarship Fund, to submit an ad. Make sure you register and participate in the event. It is free, but we are raising funds for those 2 youth scholarships. And just remember, if you see any of our 2021 awardees, congratulate them, because they've been doing great work in the Four Corners and Codman Square neighborhoods. Candace, did you want to share your announcement regarding ADSL?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Cynthia. Hi, everybody. Candace Gartley. I am the Executive Director of All Dorchester Sports and Leadership down in Townfield, a little farther afield from Codman Square, but I am a Codman Square resident and a longtime council member. And I really, I don't confine our programs to the Fields Corner area because it's all Dorchester Sports and Leadership. We do have some programs going on that I'd like you to take a look at and share. We have our after-school homework help program for kids who come home, they just need a little guidance to get their homework done. We want to send them home with their homework done so they could spend time with their loving family and not get screamed at by mom and dad about getting their homework done. So that's our job, and we give them a healthy snack. And it's pretty affordable. And if you could take a look, we've been offline for the past year because of the pandemic, but we are back on and we have a good number of kids. So please take a look at it. Also, we have fall basketball, which we've started, and we have a new relationship with the Berea Academy over on Morton Street, which we're really excited about. We have some super coaches there, and they want to expand it into a mentoring program. I urge you to take a look at it. And also soccer. We have soccer down at Townfield because sometimes it's hard to get to Pope John Park if you don't have a car or what have you. And we have a very vibrant soccer program right now. And, if you want something to do with your kids, that would be great. I also want to just put sort of a pitch into the conversation around parks. I am a member of the Boston Park Advocates, and one of the things we've been lobbying our elected officials about is that the maintenance and the care of the existing Boston parks is less than 1% of the city budget. And we are trying to get our elected officials to consider a 1% budget. For me, I know Townfield is a beautiful field that has incredible potential, but it's terribly under-resourced in an under community, and any kind of advocacy that we can get to improve it and create a culture of ownership for the community is what I am looking for. If you talk to your elected officials, if you have any opportunity to say, what are you going to be doing about the fields in the Codman Square Fields Corner area? Everyone deserves a great park. As Mayor Wall said, they are within 10-minute walk of a park, which is wonderful. But if the park is dangerous, if if it's under-resourced, if it's not well maintained, then that doesn't mean a whole lot. So I've really been advocating around paying attention to our local parks, encouraging the green space, because God knows we really needed it this past year with the pandemic. Our kids, we had 5 different summer programs in our field because it was the only way for organizations to run their programs. So parks are an integral part of the community vibrancy. So I really ask you to support the parks in your neighborhood, advocate for them, and come and sign up for some of our programs. I think that's it.
Thanks, Candace. Other announcements?
Hi, Cynthia. So, excuse me, I just wanted to make folks aware that I don't know how many of you know Margaret Stevens, who had, she was at every meeting, and she was a tiny little woman with a huge voice, always advocating for things and talking about what we should change. I just wanted to make the announcement that she did pass away on September the 23rd, and her service was yesterday at Davis Funeral Home. She was one of the Hidden Heroes. She was a recipient of one of the Hidden Heroes Awards for civic leadership, and very proud of it. She was a very strong advocate of the health center and its programs. One of the founders of the Greater Four Corners Action Coalition. She was very instrumental in the redesign of Mother's Rest Park. And so I just want to ask that we take this moment and just give it to her in the way of a moment of silence, 30 seconds or so. And in lieu of her passing and whatever it is that you usually do, the family's asked that their donations be made to the Codman Square Health Center on her behalf. So let us just take 30 seconds to give homage to her. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marilyn, for.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Rep. Holmes.
Is this the only when you said small lady? She was. Do you have a picture of her, just so I can know who? I think I know who it is, but do you have a picture of her?
Yes, I can pull it up. Thank you, Marilyn, for sharing. She will be missed, and we'll keep her family in our prayer.
Yeah. She's a Codman Square resident also. She lived on Colonial Ave.
Yeah.
After living in the Erie Ellington neighborhood for many, many years.
I'm gonna put it in the chat, Rep. Holmes.
Thank you, because I just don't want to make the assumption that I think I know who she is.
Thank you,
I'm
Marilyn.
sure you do, yeah.
Okay, other announcements?
Shawn, I've been volunteering with the Codman Square Farmers Market past couple of months. It's been an honor, and I'll be DJing for the last one this Saturday. So if you guys want to hear some live tunes and get some fresh food, I'll be serving this weekend by DJing for you all, which will be a pleasure.
Thank you. We are so grateful for you every Saturday volunteering and helping us. The market's so busy, and so we really need all hands on deck. You've been great. I'm going to come by personally and make sure I hear you DJing on Saturday. This is exciting.
And I'm sorry to keep doing this to you, Cynthia, but there's a question in the chat for me.
Yes, my apologies. And Mike needs to go next, actually, because he's had his hand up patiently. Mike, do you want to ask your question to Rep. Holmes and then also do your announcements?
Sure. So it all ties in, Rep. Holmes, and thanks for being here. Thanks for hosting me. Thanks for bringing me on, Cynthia. But sorry, I'm going to close the door real quick. Okay, so I'm a BPS parent, and I got into we have the ESSER funds coming, and they wanted feedback on what to use them for. So in June, I just got into this issue of our schools are really beyond an embarrassment as far as their condition and sending our kids there. And it really just came into focus for me in the last year or so. And I was saying it's a very worthy cause to retrofit the buildings or build new schools. But the kids deserve so much better than what they're getting. So a couple of years ago, my wife and I actually put in a heat pump in our house and tore out the boiler and put on solar panels. And we haven't seen a heating bill since. And we did it through Mass Save with the zero down financing. I mean, I'm a freelance photographer, so there's only so much I can do, but this let us do it. And I just feel like this is achievable on a bigger scale in bigger buildings like the schools. Also, you know, yes, it's a lot of money up front, but it would then leave money after a few years to pay off the system, then money for actual education. The kids need AC, they need ventilation, the community needs non-fossil fuel heat, and we have the money and we have the technology. And I've started a petition, I'll put a link into it in the chat, to demand HVAC for these schools. And it's started to get some traction. I have an op-ed in the Reporter. I have another probably story coming out tomorrow in the Reporter. And from the folks that I have gotten in touch with in city government, honestly, it's been kind of poo-pooed, and I don't get the sense of urgency from them. I feel like at the rate they're going, it's going to easily go another generation of BPS kids in really substandard buildings. So I am here to ask folks, if you agree with me, to please sign and share the petition. And two things that you can do to help along, aside from signing and sharing, is, since I'm a photographer, I'm actually collecting BPS families who want to participate and take their picture outside their school with a historical image from like the year it was built. Like my daughter's school, I think, could be the Lusitania. And just to make the point politely, but to just point out the absurdity of where we are with these schools. It's a fight for me to keep it polite, but that's, I know, the better route. So if you're interested in that, at the bottom of the petition, you'll see a link you can click on and sign up or share with folks who you think would be interested. I'd love to get people from all different types of schools and really make it a bit of a photo project. Also, you can go to Build BPS and make a video outside your school with your kids listing the things that are deficient. So my kids go to the Lee Academy. It has no ventilation system. The air quality is the worst quality possible. It's deficient. The boiler needs to be replaced. And I made the point with one of the state officials this week that no boiler should be replaced again. It should be new electric heat. And he pointed out that, well, they have to keep the kids heated, as if I didn't think of that. I just think they need a bit of they need to understand the need, and they need to rearrange their thinking. And I'm hoping this petition can help do that. And I'll put that link in. And just one other quick thing, I'm actually running some family portraits outside in Dorchester Park on October 23rd. I want to make this a project of all about Dorchester and the folks in it, and just have some really sweet images of all the people. I'm almost choking up thinking about people getting to be close again and get some nice pictures from it. I'll include a link to that as well. Feel free to spread the word, come yourselves. It'll be outside with nice big studio lights in Dorchester Park. It'll be fun. And you'll see some examples of the work in the poster I put together. That's it. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Russell. And I'd love to see, right now we're at 671 on signups for this petition. I'd love to see it cross 700 possibly tonight, depending on how many folks have already signed up here. But thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it very much.
My quick take on that, Mike, is I agree. The schools are in horrible condition. I can just tell you, I see the funds as different. I think the ESSER funding, as you mentioned, obviously is just on education. So the conversation I'm having about the 4.8 billion is, we as a caucus, we were saying we don't want to have that money spent on education because we have a whole string of money just for education. And we think if we already have that whole string, let's make sure we focus on these things being for everything else. And so just know at the state level, I have been advocating for many years that we should be building more schools. And we do have state dollars that should support the build out of these schools, but I'm a yes to sign the petition for HVAC. And like you, I have solar panels on my roof that Al and all the folks over at Second Church put on my roof, and I haven't had a bill since they put them up there as well. So that's the only thing that would make sense. But remember now, that roof, even though you're talking about whoever you said about the city official, make sure that roof is new, or it it has enough lights into it to make sure that we put those things up there, it'll survive.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mike, we care so much about green and healthy buildings. And then when it comes to our children in schools, you know, our passion is taken to a whole nother level. I'm so glad you're leading this effort. It's really nice that you can attach your skills with photography to your advocacy. That's exciting. I've already signed the petition, and you can definitely sign us up to take a picture in front of the Henderson.
Great. Thank you.
K0 now.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments for Mike? Nope, he's put the link in the chat, so make sure you take a look. If you're in support, sign the petition. Can you also put your contact information, Mike? People might want to get involved and learn more about the photography at Dorchester Park. Any other announcements? If not, we are going to end right on time. We meet again next month, first Wednesday of the month, 7 to 8:30 p.m. That's November 3rd, same time, same place. I will see you then. Please share all the information that you heard here with your friends and your family, and we'll notify you when it's posted on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you know as well. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and have a great evening.